Time is the only thing in your life that refuses to wait for you. It doesn't care about your mood, your motivation, your struggles, your heartbreaks, or your excuses. It doesn't slow down when you're tired. It doesn't speed up when you feel excited. It doesn't freeze for you when you say, "I'll start tomorrow." Time moves at the same pace for everyone, every second, every minute, every hour, without exception. And the painful truth is that while time continues its silent, unstoppable march forward, it's your excuses that keep hitting the pause button on your life. Look at your last year. Think about all the things you said you were going to start. The gym routine you planned, the business idea you wrote down, the habits you promised yourself you'd build, the toxic people you said you'd cut off, the sleep schedule you said you'd fix, the books you swore you'd read. Think about all of it. Where are those goals now? Most likely still untouched, sitting exactly where you left them the moment your first excuse appeared. That's the thing about excuses. They show up disguised as comfort, logic, and justification. "I'll do it later. I had a long day. I'm not ready yet. I'll start when everything is perfect." These sentences sound harmless, but every time you say them, you're hitting pause on your own life. Meanwhile, time keeps moving, completely unaffected by your lack of action. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. Months turn into years. And suddenly, you look back and wonder how you ended up in the exact same place. Time didn't trap you. Your excuses did. Imagine for a moment that time actually did pause whenever you paused your effort. Imagine that the world froze every time you said, "Not now." You'd wake up in a world where nothing moved without your permission. But that's not how life works. You can stop. You can rest. You can procrastinate. You can quit. But time will never join you. It keeps going without looking back. And the cruel part is that even if you do nothing, time will still take everything from you: your youth, your opportunities, your energy, your potential. Every year wasted is a year you don't get to redo. You know why some people win? It's not because they're smarter. It's not because they're more talented. It's because they refuse to allow excuses to become their default response to discomfort. They understood that time is neutral. Time never picks favorites. What you do with your seconds is the only thing that separates you from the person you want to be, the person you admire, the person you wish you were. Every person you look up to had the same 24 hours, the same ticking clock, the same pressure. What changed their life wasn't time, it was their refusal to pause their effort whenever things got uncomfortable. They moved when they didn't feel like moving. They worked when they were tired. They kept going when everyone else quit. They didn't negotiate with excuses. But you've spent too many years letting excuses act like they run your life. You've trained your mind to retreat the moment things require effort. You've convinced yourself that your circumstances justify your inaction. And you've repeated it so many times that you don't even notice you're doing it anymore. Excuses aren't just part of your behavior, they've become part of your identity. The moment something gets difficult, you pause. The moment it becomes uncomfortable, you pause. The moment you don't see results immediately, you pause. But here's what you fail to see. Every time you pause, time does not. It keeps counting. It keeps moving. It keeps eroding your chances to become the version of yourself you're capable of being. The reason you feel stuck isn't because life is unfair. It's because time is moving while you're not. Think about it. Every goal you've ever had is still possible. Every dream is still within reach. But it will remain out of reach for as long as you let excuses stop you more than time pushes you forward. The world isn't leaving you behind, you're leaving yourself behind. You must understand something fundamental. If you want your life to change, time will never adjust to your excuses. You have to adjust your habits to the speed of time. Because time is fast, time is ruthless, time is indifferent, and it does not slow down because you decided to take a break. It doesn't slow down because you're stressed. It doesn't slow down because you're unmotivated. Time moves at full speed every single day, and if you don't match its pace, you will always feel like you're falling behind. Look closely at the people around you. Someone your age is already successful. Someone your age is already building something incredible. Someone your age is already disciplined, already focused, already ahead. Not because they were lucky, but because while you paused for excuses, they kept moving with time. They didn't let temporary feelings sabotage long-term progress. This is why people wake up at 30, 40, 50 and feel lost. Because they were living as if time would come back and give them a second chance. It doesn't. It never does. The seconds you waste are gone forever. The opportunities you ignore become someone else's opportunity. The version of yourself you keep postponing slowly turns into a fantasy. And the longer you let excuses dictate your pace, the more painful it becomes to accept that time never cared about your reasons for stopping. Comfort is the silent killer of ambition. It doesn't attack you directly, it doesn't scream at you, it doesn't force you to stop. It simply whispers in your ear, gently pulling you back into the life you already know, the habits you're used to, the routines that feel safe. Comfort convinces you that staying exactly where you are is good enough. And before you realize it, comfort becomes the cage you willingly lock yourself inside. People think failure is the biggest threat to success. It's not. Failure teaches you, sharpens you, forces you to grow. Fear isn't the biggest threat either, because fear can motivate you. Doubt isn't even the biggest obstacle, because doubt can be overcome with action. The real danger is comfort, because comfort doesn't feel like danger. It feels easy, it feels warm, it feels familiar. And that's exactly why it ruins more dreams than anything else. Look at your life honestly. Every time you had a chance to grow, a chance to push forward, a chance to elevate yourself, comfort was the voice that held you back. The voice that told you to sleep instead of waking up early. The voice that told you to relax instead of working on your goals. The voice that told you to stay with the same people who hold you down because finding better people requires effort. Comfort didn't show up as an enemy. It showed up as relief. Comfort always disguises itself as self-care, rest, or taking a break, when in reality it is slowly draining your hunger for success. When you get too comfortable, you stop fighting. You stop chasing. You stop demanding more from yourself. And once you stop demanding more, life stops giving more. Comfort turns your potential into something you talk about instead of something you execute. Think about the people who want to change their body. They want to get strong, get disciplined, get in shape. But the moment the workout gets hard, comfort steps in. It tells them to take it easy, slow down, do it tomorrow. Comfort seduces them into staying the same. And because they listen, they spend months or years stuck in the same body they said they wanted to change. Think about people who want to make money. They want financial freedom. They want opportunities. They want a better life. But when it's time to learn a new skill, start a new project, or put in real work, comfort whispers to them that it's too difficult, too risky, too unfamiliar. Comfort convinces them that their current situation isn't that bad, that they should be grateful, that they can start later. So they stay broke, not because they lack intelligence, but because comfort stole their ambition. Comfort convinces you that your life is okay, when it should be extraordinary. Comfort keeps you in friendships that drain you. Comfort keeps you in jobs that bore you. Comfort keeps you in habits that waste your time. Comfort keeps you repeating the same day over and over again until it becomes your entire life. It tricks you into thinking that the smallest amount of progress is enough. It gives you a false sense of satisfaction, just enough to keep you from pushing harder. And here's the part most people never understand: comfort is addictive. The more you choose it, the weaker you become. The more you choose it, the more your tolerance for challenge decreases. Your ability to suffer decreases. Your willingness to grow disappears. You become soft without noticing it. You become stagnant while thinking you're stable. You become complacent while believing you're fine. Comfort kills urgency. It kills focus. It kills discipline. It kills potential. You ever notice how the most successful people live? They aren't comfortable. They don't allow themselves to be. Their lives are filled with pressure, challenges, demands, and constant improvement. They put themselves into situations where they have to grow. They force themselves out of comfort on purpose because they know comfort is poison. Your brain wants comfort because comfort feels safe. But what you need is pressure. What you need is challenge. What you need is the discomfort that forces you to evolve. Every meaningful transformation in life comes from stepping outside the boundaries of what feels easy. You want to know why you're stuck? It's not because you're unlucky. It's not because you're incapable. It's not because you're missing some magical opportunity. You're stuck because you consistently choose comfort over progress. You're stuck because the moment life gives you an opportunity to grow, you retreat to what feels safe. You're stuck because you're more committed to staying comfortable than becoming powerful. Comfort tells you that discomfort is dangerous, but it's lying to you. Discomfort is not the enemy. Discomfort is the sign that you're growing, stretching, evolving into someone stronger than before. Discomfort is the doorway to every version of yourself you dream about. But you keep closing that door every time you choose the easy option, the familiar option, the comfortable option. Every person you admire today had to walk through discomfort to become who they are. They had to sacrifice comfort to earn mastery. They had to abandon comfort to win. Nobody becomes great by staying comfortable. Nobody changes their life by doing what feels good. Growth demands discomfort, and success demands consistency in that discomfort. Comfort wants to keep you average. And the truth is, if you stay comfortable long enough, average becomes your destination. You weren't born to be average. You weren't born to coast through life. But comfort doesn't care about your potential. It only cares about keeping you exactly where you are. Pressure is not your enemy. Pressure is the force that creates movement. It's the weight that shapes you, sharpens you, turns you into something stronger than you were yesterday. But most people spend their entire lives running away from pressure. They avoid challenges, avoid responsibility, avoid accountability, avoid anything that demands effort. They think avoiding pressure will make life easier. What they don't realize is that avoiding pressure doesn't remove difficulty, it simply delays it. And when life delivers the difficulty, it comes as punishment, not growth. If you don't willingly create pressure for yourself, life will create punishment that you cannot escape. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you're choosing future consequences. Every time you choose to procrastinate, you're choosing to suffer later. Every time you refuse to push yourself, you're choosing to be pushed by life. Pressure is optional. Punishment is not. And that's the difference between people who take control of their lives and people who get crushed by their lives. Think about your finances. If you don't create the pressure to learn, to save, to build, to invest, life will punish you with debt stress and the fear of not knowing how you're going to survive. If you don't put pressure on yourself to become valuable, life will punish you by making you replaceable. If you don't create the pressure to gain new skills, life will punish you by taking away opportunities. Think about your health. If you don't create pressure in the gym, pressure in your discipline, pressure in your diet, life will punish you with weakness, fatigue, illness, and regret. If you don't create the pressure to control your habits, life will punish you with the consequences of those habits. Pressure is the cost of a better life. Punishment is the cost of ignoring pressure. Look at successful people. Their lives are not easy. They didn't get where they are because things came naturally. They created pressure on themselves long before they became successful. They forced themselves to wake up earlier, to work longer, to think deeper, to push harder. They didn't wait for life to pressure them, they pressured themselves into growth. Most people wait until life forces them to change. They wait until their health collapses. They wait until they're broke. They wait until they're alone. They wait until their dreams expire. They wait until they reach a point where they no longer have a choice. That moment is punishment, and once punishment arrives, you don't get to negotiate. You don't get to soften the blow. You don't get to pause it. Life punishes consistently and mercilessly. Pressure, on the other hand, is controlled. It's intentional. You decide when it happens, and how you respond to it. It shapes you without destroying you. It pushes you without breaking you. Pressure is the training ground. Punishment is the price for refusing to train. Every great version of yourself is on the other side of pressure, but you keep choosing the version of yourself that avoids it. You keep choosing temporary comfort over long-term strength. You keep choosing easy now instead of better later. And that is why life keeps punishing you with frustration, stagnation, and disappointment. You ever notice how the harder you try to avoid difficulty, the more difficult things become? That's life responding to your avoidance. That's life saying, if you won't push yourself, I will push you. And life doesn't care about your readiness. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your feelings. It only cares about balance. You either face pressure now or you face punishment later. People who build discipline understand this. They don't wait for life to hit them. They hit first. They create challenges instead of waiting to be challenged. They build resilience instead of hoping things get easier. They push themselves because they know that pressure today saves them from punishment tomorrow. Look at your own life. The things that cause you the most stress today are the things you avoided yesterday. The conversations you avoided, the work you delayed, the habits you didn't break, the opportunities you didn't take, the responsibilities you put off. You chose comfort then, and now you're paying for it. That is punishment. But here's the truth you must accept. The punishment will continue until you choose pressure. You cannot escape the system. You cannot avoid the consequences of inaction. Life doesn't reward intentions. It rewards pressure. It rewards effort. It rewards discipline. This is why some people rise while others fall. It's not destiny. It's not luck. It's the relationship they have with pressure. Weak people hide from it. Strong people seek it. Weak people wait for life to force. Strong people force themselves. Weak people think pressure is painful. Strong people know pressure is purposeful. When you stop running from pressure, everything in your life begins to shift. You start making choices that transform your future instead of protecting your comfort. You start becoming the person you were meant to be instead of the person your excuses shaped. You start turning difficulty into power instead of punishment. Life is always watching. It sees whether you put pressure on yourself or not, and life reacts accordingly. It responds to your discipline or your avoidance. It rewards your effort or punishes your excuses. You don't get to choose whether you face struggle. You only get to choose the form of struggle, pressure, or punishment. Your environment is one of the most powerful forces in your life, and most people don't even realize it. They think their failures come from a lack of motivation. They think their laziness comes from a lack of discipline. They think their stagnation comes from bad luck. But the truth is far simpler and far more brutal. You become a product of whatever environment you place yourself in. You can have all the motivation in the world, but if your environment is weak, you will eventually become weak. If your environment is lazy, you will eventually become lazy. If your environment accepts mediocrity, it will slowly train you to accept mediocrity too. Your environment is always shaping you, always influencing you, always adjusting your standards without you even noticing. It's molding your mindset, your habits, your beliefs, your actions. You might think you're too strong to be influenced, but no one is immune. Your environment is working on you every second of your life, either pulling you up or dragging you down. Look around at the people you spend your time with. Look at what they talk about, what they focus on, what they chase, what they complain about, what they avoid. Their mindset becomes your mindset. Their habits become your habits. Their standards become your standards. If you surround yourself with people who accept being average, you will become average. If you surround yourself with people who complain all day, you will start complaining. If you surround yourself with people who waste time, you will start wasting time. Not because you're weak, but because human beings adapt to their surroundings. The environment you choose is the silent architect of your destiny. Motivation can make you excited for a day. Environment can make you consistent for years. That's the difference. That's why you can watch motivational videos and feel powerful one moment, then go back to your boring routine the next. Your environment is stronger than your temporary emotional high. You can hype yourself up, but if your environment is not aligned with your goals, it will pull you back into your old identity every single time. Most people try to change their life without changing their environment, and that's why they fail. They try to become disciplined while living in a house full of distractions. They try to improve their mindset while spending time with negative people. They try to chase success while surrounded by individuals who have never achieved anything. They try to grow in the same soil that has been poisoning them for years. You cannot grow in a dead environment. You cannot bloom in toxic surroundings. You cannot elevate yourself while standing on a foundation built by comfortable, unambitious people. Your environment either supports your evolution or suffocates it. Think about how many times you set a goal and felt unstoppable. You said you'd wake up early. You said you'd work harder. You said you'd focus. But the moment you returned to your usual environment, all the energy disappeared. The room felt the same. The people acted the same. The distractions returned. The same habits resurfaced. It wasn't your lack of motivation, it was your environment overpowering your intentions. Your mind is influenced by what it sees, hears, and experiences every single day. If your environment is cluttered, chaotic, negative, dull, or unambitious, your mind becomes the same. If your environment is disciplined, structured, energized, focused, and demanding, your mind adapts to that too. You were never meant to grow in an environment that keeps you small. Look at successful people around the world. They didn't just change their habits, they changed their environment first. They distanced themselves from people who drained them. They removed distractions. They surrounded themselves with individuals who pushed them, challenged them, inspired them, and held them to a higher standard. They created an environment that demanded excellence from them every single day. The environment you tolerate becomes the life you tolerate. If you live around people who live for the weekend, you will too. If you live around people who chase growth, you'll chase growth too. If you live around people who think big, you'll think big too. Humans mirror their environment, whether they realize it or not. Your environment is the thermostat of your life. It determines the default temperature of your motivation. You can heat yourself up temporarily with discipline or excitement, but if your environment is cold, you will always cool back down to match it. That's why you feel stuck. That's why every time you level up for a moment, you fall back into old patterns. You're fighting against an environment designed for your old identity. Your environment is powerful enough to make you forget your goals. It's powerful enough to freeze your progress. It's powerful enough to lower your standards day by day until you don't even notice you are settling. That's why changing your life starts with changing your environment, and not just physically, mentally, socially, digitally, emotionally. Everything around you must support the person you're trying to become, not the person you're trying to escape. Your future isn't built in the moments where everyone can see you. It's not built in the moments you post online, or when you talk about your goals, or when you look motivated in front of others. Your future is built in the silent hours, the invisible hours, the hours where nobody is clapping for you, nobody is texting you, nobody is cheering you on. The hours where you are alone with your decisions, alone with your discipline, alone with your honesty. Those hours decide everything. People love to show their results, but they never show the reality. They never show the nights they stayed up working when they were exhausted. They never show the mornings they woke up early when they didn't want to move. They never show the choices they made to keep going when nobody asked them to. They never show the sacrifice, the loneliness, the mental battles. But that's exactly where success is born. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. The truth is, your life is shaped by what you do when nobody is watching. That's when your real character is revealed. Anyone can pretend to be disciplined for a few hours when people are observing. Anyone can act motivated when there's validation. Anyone can talk about their dreams when it sounds good. But when you are alone, that's when you meet the real version of yourself. That's when you see if your dreams are strong enough to survive silence. In the quiet hours, you either build your future or you waste it. This is where success separates itself from fantasy. This is where winners are created and losers are exposed. Winners don't need an audience. Winners don't need applause. Winners don't need recognition to start. They move because they said they would. They act because their goals demand it. They don't wait for someone to approve their effort. They don't wait for a push. They become their own push. Most people fail because their effort depends on attention. They only work when someone is watching. They only grind when someone might praise them. They only stay consistent when the world can see it. The moment the spotlight goes away, so does their discipline. And that's why their results are inconsistent, fragile, temporary. They're fueled by external motivation instead of internal commitment. Ask yourself something honest. How do you act when nobody sees you, when nobody is expecting anything from you, when there's no consequence for being lazy? That answer determines everything about your future. You can lie to the world about your effort. You can fake discipline online. You can act motivated in public. But you cannot lie to yourself in the silent hours. You cannot fake the work that nobody sees. You cannot pretend to be great when your habits contradict your dreams. The future belongs to the people who are willing to work in the shadows while the rest of the world wastes time looking for validation. Think about the last year of your life. How many silent hours did you waste? Hours that could have been invested into your goals. Hours that could have been used to learn, to build, to improve. Hours that could have changed your identity. Instead, you traded them for temporary comfort, temporary pleasure, temporary relief. You traded them thinking they didn't matter. But they mattered more than everything else. Every hour you spend distracted is an hour someone else is spending improving. Every hour you spend scrolling is an hour someone else is building. Every hour you spend procrastinating is an hour someone else is evolving. Someone out there is working in silence right now while you're convincing yourself you'll start later. And when the results appear, you'll call them lucky, not realizing that luck is just preparation that nobody saw. People don't fail because the goal is impossible. They fail because their silent hours are wasted. Those hours determine whether you wake up next year in the same place or in a completely different world. Those hours determine whether your future is stronger than your past or whether your past keeps repeating itself. Those hours decide whether your dreams stay dreams or become your reality. You know why some people seem unstoppable. It's not talent, it's not genetics, it's not connections, it's because their silent hours are filled with purpose. They train when nobody is watching. They study when nobody expects it. They work when nobody will applaud. They stay focused even when there's no reward in sight. They understand that real transformation happens when the world isn't paying attention. In the silent hours, there is no pressure to perform, no one judging you, no audience measuring your progress. It's just you and your choices. And most people crumble there because silence exposes everything. It exposes your discipline. It exposes your excuses. It exposes your truth. It exposes your desire. It exposes whether you actually want what you say you want or if you're just pretending. If you want a future different from your past, you have to win the hours nobody sees. You have to fight laziness when nobody will know you fought it. You have to keep going when nobody is watching you go. You have to push when nobody applauds. You have to sacrifice when nobody thanks you. You have to choose growth when nobody would have blamed you for choosing comfort. Your future doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care that you were tired. It doesn't care that someone betrayed you. It doesn't care that your family didn't support you. It doesn't care that life was unfair, or that the economy was rough, or that you felt sad, lonely, confused, or unmotivated. Your future only listens to one thing: what you do today. Not what you plan, not what you hope, not what you talk about endlessly, only what you execute. People spend their entire lives believing that excuses buy them time. They think if they can justify why they didn't move forward, somehow life will go easy on them. They think explaining their weakness somehow protects them from its consequences. But that's not how the world works. You don't get extra credit for being honest about why you failed. You don't get rewarded because your reason was valid. The world doesn't pause because you needed a break. Time doesn't bend to your emotions. The clock keeps moving even while you stay still. Your future self is out there waiting, and right now he doesn't even recognize you. He's stronger, sharper, more disciplined, more dangerous, more capable. But every excuse you make today pushes you further away from him. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," he fades. Every time you claim, "I wasn't feeling it," he steps back. Every time you indulge in comfort, he disappears a little bit more. And one day you wake up and realize he's gone forever. You don't just lose the future, you lose the version of you that could have led it. People think excuses are harmless. They think saying, "I was tired," is just a sentence. But it's not. It's a doorway. It's an invitation to weakness. It's your mind teaching itself to accept less from you. You know why you never improve? Because your mind has learned that excuses work. You've trained yourself to negotiate with laziness. The moment things get uncomfortable, your brain pulls out a file full of reasons why you shouldn't try. And the worst part, you believe them. You treat your excuses like truth, when in reality they are lies you tell yourself to stay exactly where you are. Your future doesn't care about your excuses, but it pays attention to your habits. What you repeat becomes who you are. If you repeatedly find reasons not to take action, you will become the kind of person who never takes action. If you regularly give up when things get tough, you will become the kind of person who can't handle pressure. If you constantly wait for motivation, you will become the kind of person who only works on good days. That's the problem with excuses. They don't just slow your progress, they rewrite your identity. You want success. Then you need to stop negotiating with yourself. You need to stop letting your emotions vote on your decisions. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline doesn't need permission. Discipline is doing what you know must be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They stopped caring about how they felt and started caring about who they wanted to become. Think about the strongest, most unstoppable version of you. Do you really believe he makes excuses? Do you think he wakes up and says, "I'm tired, so I won't push today," or "I didn't sleep well, so I'll skip," or "I'll start next week when I'm more prepared"? Absolutely not. That version of you shows up regardless. That version of you is driven by purpose, not feelings. That version of you is built through pressure, sacrifice, discomfort, and relentless consistency. You know what the most painful truth is? The world doesn't punish you for your excuses, life does. Your excuses steal opportunities you don't even know you missed. They cost you connections, money, growth, strength, confidence, and years of your potential. Every excuse you make is a quiet thief. It steals silently. It takes from you without you feeling it until one day you look back and realize everything you could have been was taken by everything you refused to overcome. And here's the thing. You are not a weak person. You're just surrounded by comfort. You're not incapable. You're just undisciplined. You're not unlucky. You're uncommitted. You have the potential. You have the ability. You have the time, the resources, the capacity. What you lack is urgency. You lack the mindset that says, "My future matters more than my excuses." You lack the internal fire that says, "I don't care if it's hard. I'm doing it anyway." The moment you decide that your future is non-negotiable, every excuse you have loses its power. The world is built on results, not reasons. You'll never hear a successful man explain why he couldn't. You only hear people who failed talk about their excuses. The successful talk about what they did. While others complained, they worked. While others hesitated, they moved. While others waited, they created. You want to join them? Then stop letting your excuses narrate your life. There is a version of you waiting at the end of this year who either thanks you or hates you. He either looks at you with pride or disappointment. He either stands tall because of your discipline or suffers because of your excuses. And right now, everything depends on which voice you choose to obey. If you want the speech itself next, just tell me, continue with full speech, and I'll deliver it. You've just walked through the truth most people spend their whole lives running from. A full year has passed, and whether you improved or stayed the same wasn't destiny, wasn't luck, wasn't circumstances, it was you. Your discipline, your choices, your standards, your willingness to act when everyone else was waiting. The world didn't stop for you, and it won't stop for the next 12 months either. Time will keep moving, and you will either rise with it or remain exactly where you are, watching your own life from the sidelines. Every moment you waste is a moment someone else used to build the life you want. Every excuse you cling to is a brick in the wall you keep trapping yourself behind. Every day you hesitate is a day your dreams quietly die a little more, and you know it. Deep down you feel it, that dull ache of potential rotting inside you. That constant whisper reminding you that you could be more, but you haven't been willing to pay the price. Not yet. But that ends the moment you decide it ends. Because nothing is stopping you from becoming the person you keep imagining, except the version of you that refuses to let go of comfort. Nothing stands between you and growth, except the habits you refuse to break. Nothing blocks your future except the excuses you keep protecting like they're treasures instead of chains. You already know what your life will look like if you repeat last year. You've seen that movie, you know the ending, and it's not enough for you, not anymore. You are capable of terrifying levels of progress. You are built to endure pressure, to survive hardship, to transform pain into power. Everything you need is already inside you, buried under distractions, laziness, fear, procrastination, and a lifetime of letting yourself off the hook. But once you stop apologizing for your weakness and start attacking it, everything shifts. Once you stop waiting for motivation and start moving without it, everything accelerates. Once you decide that your future matters more than your feelings, everything opens up. This year doesn't have to be a repeat of the last one. It can be the year you finally wake up, the year you stop wasting time, the year you become dangerous, the year you build momentum so violently that even failure is scared to touch you, the year you prove to yourself, not to the world, not to your friends, not to your family, but to yourself that you were never stuck. You were simply choosing the wrong battles. Now you choose the right ones. This is your line in the sand. The moment everything before this becomes the warm up and everything after becomes the rise. Whether that happens or not has nothing to do with luck, timing, or circumstances. It has everything to do with whether you finally choose action over excuses, discipline over comfort, and purpose over weakness. The next year of your life begins right now, in this exact moment, with whatever decision you make next. And that decision will echo across the future you're about to create.